Hello, Splinter Snake here with another figure review. Today we have got playing on your YouTube Marvel Legends Infinite Series Mandroid Wave. Marvel Now Captain America. Boom, brother. What can we say about this figure? Honestly, I really like this figure and I'm very chuffed with what Hasbro have done with him. As you can see, he only comes with the kind of two accessories, his shield and the Mandroid piece. So, I don't actually have the box for this character as I got him loose from my buddy Jonathan Webster. But all the boxes look virtually the same. What you have here is a picture of Captain America from the Marvel Now. At the bottom it would probably say Marvel Now Captain America. I don't think it would say Winter Soldier top there. I honestly couldn't tell you. I do apologise. But then you have a picture of the figure at the background. And then the bit I wanted to show you is the build figure section. As you can see, this is Marvel Now Captain America. Includes head. Number 1. You get a very tiny head. That there. And that's all you get with this guy, besides his shield. So, onto the figure. Now, like I said, I really like this figure. I like what they've done with it. Let's lose his shield for a second here. It's a standard shield, same thing we've seen 100 times over. Only difference is they've used that kind of pearlescent plastic look for it to make it a bit more shiny. As you can see my light there. Shiny. But it's good enough. It's got the, like I said, pearlescent in there. Looks a bit marble on the back, on the underside. Nice details, and it's got the peg to go in his back, so he can look like he's wearing it on his back. And then, of course, the hinge to make it the clip to go on any of his wrists. Bye-bye, shield. Okay, so my buddy Anthony from Anthony's Customs did a review on this figure, and one thing he said which he despised about this figure was the paint applications. It is a completely brand new resculpted figure. They haven't reused any parts of this, so the entire figure has been resculpted, and that's something that I really appreciate, because Hasbro don't like to do that often. So thank you, Hasbro, much appreciated, and they've done a good job. The sculpt on this figure is actually phenomenal, and I'm really blown away with it. I think the choices of plastics and I think the paint applications was not brilliantly executed, but I do think the sculpt itself is worth the penny. We'll go over the problems of the figure to begin with, and like I said, it's fundamentally with the paint apps. If I lift his arms up here, you can see on his underarms there's some rub there and there. And on his red here, you can see some paint chips here, which is caused by the torso. And it's not just on my figure, it is one that is common with most figures. I kind of only have one gripe with this figure, and that's with the bicep joint, but I'll show you that in articulation. So having a close-up look at this figure, you can see there's some really nice detail sculpted in the actual torso there. All this detail under the arms and actually on the chest and shoulders is all sculpted in there, and it's really nice. Same as the straps going over his actual shoulders. Again, really nice. You can even see on his neck that is like a uniform zip going up there. For the portrait view, you can see that the head has some really nice sculpt in it. The strap going along his chin is really well sculpted. The helmet is really well sculpted and has some nice detail going throughout. Even the paint apps for the wings and the A is really well done. I can't actually see many mistakes on the actual helmet. Moving down, you can see that the shoulder has a really great hexagonal armor plated in the design. The back of the character, much like the front, has the same hexagonal plating and the star, and then some great detail underneath the arms. Those straps again look really good, and as you can see here from the creases in the neck, it looks like that he's wearing a uniform underneath his armor. So showing off that detail under the arms, you can see that even the ball joints underneath have the lines sculpted into them, same as the biceps here. And it's really well sculpted. And then the rib cage is protected by this really nice, and it looks very thick armour throughout. The abdomen is defined, but it's not super defined. And the paint apps do continue all the way underneath. The belt is sculpted really well and has pockets and pouches throughout, and is a nice brown leather. It has one different colour on the actual buckle itself, which is slight like bronzy silver. There's armour plating going throughout the character, from his knee pads to his thighs, and then his boots and his gloves. All really well sculpted and have some great textures and great detail in them. As I do agree with Anthony's Customs, where he said it's a shame those details weren't highlighted with a simple paintbrush. Okay, size comparison. To the top of his head, Captain America stands at just literally 6¼ inches. You know the routine by now, guys. Usual suspects. A Bucky cap. Superior Spider-Man. Spider-Girl. Ultimate Captain America. Now he's going to come back into this in a bit and you'll see why. Hyperion. And then for his two movie counterparts, the Avengers Captain America and the Captain America Winter Soldier Captain America. Okay, articulation. For articulation, Cap sports a ball jointed head. Let's just test something quickly. I don't have the Super Soldier head to hand, but this one does look okay. So you probably could use the Steve Rogers Super Soldier head if you wanted an unmasked one. As for the sculpts, I don't know. I guess they're similar. This one's a lot smaller though. So, as you saw, the head's on a ball joint. It can go back that far and forward that far, and you don't really get any pivot in it or any rock in it, but you can rotate it around 360 degrees. Now the shoulders are on ball joints, but they're really stiff ratchet joints. This one's not too bad, this one very ratchety, but they can go out to that far. They can go around 360 degrees, and you are going to get some rub on the torso. He has a bicep rotation. Well done, Hasbro. And this is a gripe. He has a double elbow joint. You can see there's a peg there and there's a peg there. But this top one is pointless. That's how much you get from the first one, which is absolutely pointless. They may as well have given us just a single joint. You still get plenty of range from just that one joint, but it's a waste of money to put that in there if it does nothing, in my opinion. They could have used that money on the paint apps, or maybe retooled it slightly to give you that slightly bit better sculpt, or rather range. So that's slightly disappointing. That's my real gripe with the figure, to be honest. Anyway, moving on. Wrists can rotate 360 degrees around, and they can pivot from that to that, both the same. As you can see, this one is an open wrist, can go from that to that. He has an abdominal crunch, which can go forward that much, so just a little bit, and back that much. So not as that massively back, but it can go forward enough. That's about upright, where you've got a nice curve there and flat there, so it looks really well. Has a waist cut just above the belt, 360 degrees. Mine was really seized. As you can see, there's quite a bit of paint in their figure, or on the belt rather. The paint had not dried correctly and it had seized it, so had to apply a bit too much force, and I'd like to free that up. He has T-cut hips and has a Spartan kick of that, very respectable, and then a split kick of that. Kind of wish it was more, but I can deal with it. He has an upper thigh rotation, 360 degrees, and then has a double bend in the knees. Would have preferred a bit more, but I'm very comfortable with that. It's better than 90, so I'm really happy with that. Has a boot rotation, 360 degrees, and then there's an ankle point from there to there, and you know it, the ankle pivot from there to there. Now, something Anthony pointed out was the choice of plastic, which you can see quite clearly from my light shining on this figure. His hips here, compared to his thighs, these are really shiny, and this plastic is much harder and firmer plastic. I can't dig my nails into them at all. This, on the other hand, I can. So they've chosen to use a softer plastic for the actual legs, but then hard plastic for the thighs, or the hips. While it doesn't bother me too much, I can see his point. I don't know why they chose to use such a glossy, shimmery plastic for that. Forgot to add that he has peg holes and some nice treads on the bottom of his feet. Okay, as I said, we were going to come back to this figure. This is the Ultimate Captain America figure that came with the, is it Baron, not, it's Armin Zola, I think, wave. I honestly cannot remember. But the reason I brought him back in is because I think that this guy, if Hasbro took the time, stripped away the armor, would make a great replacement for this base figure. Because this one has been used to death. And while I don't mind them retooling and reusing figures, if they get something that works well, then they roll with it. That's all I'm saying. This is my favourite body mould, and I'm really happy that they keep reusing this. But I think this one has worn its place. I think it's a bit dated now. Its joints look a bit weird. The elbows protrude way too much when his arms are straight, and they just don't look quite right. You see, his chest is really too narrow and scrawny, but if I did it the other way, then his arms stick out like that. That was the way the Punisher was. I don't know if any of you noticed that, but there was a slight difference between the Punisher and then from the Ultimate Captain America, the Shield Agent, and everything after that. And also we get a glove cut, which is... It's an okay decision, but it's not the greatest choice. And we're going to get another retooled, almost identical version of this, except he's going to have blue trousers in the box set, which comes with Captain America, I think it's Ms. Marvel and Radiation Man off the top of my head. I might be wrong about that. But we don't need another Captain America using this body. Hasbro, if you are watching, which I know you're probably not, take this mould, tweak it, lose the armor, shape it down into this, you know, define it. All you really need to do is kind of lose the pads and lose the armor, and then you pretty much got a very decent figure, which you could use for a base over and over and over again. Because this Bucky cap has been used for US Agent. Let's run through the list. Bucky cap. Let's run through this. Bucky cap has been used for Bucky cap, US Agent, Hydra Soldier, Baron Zemo, Hawkeye, Boomerang, Gadget Man, is that his name? I don't actually know who that is. They were going to release the Blizzard. Yeah, Blizzard, that's his name. Couldn't think of his name was either. I don't know. Can't think of any more off the top of my head. You know, that's 8 right there. And it works. And I've not met many people that actually complain about it because it's such a solid, decent mould to keep reusing. If you look at DCUC, they've reused the same mould like from the entire collection, only tweaked things here and there. So that's my little rant on this figure. I'm sorry to add this to the review. I just think it would be a great idea to use this as a bulky, because he's got the bulk, he's got a height, he's got the broad. So to use this to replace this, if they could lose the armor and maybe the trousers. Although I don't mind the trousers personally, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to pay attention to this. So overall, would I recommend this figure? Yes, in a nutshell. The complaints are very minimal, and I think it's a great figure. I'm not collecting Marvel now personally, so I'm probably going to customize this into something else. Haven't even thought of what. Way too many ahead to consider it, but I would definitely recommend this figure. The only thing to really overlook is, like I said, is the paint rub. It's a bit annoying, but sure that I think it's a really decent figure. Final thoughts on this figure. I think he's definitely worth the money. I think he's got great sculpt, great articulation. I think the paint apps is the only real thing that lets this cat figure down. Short of that, I think he's definitely one of the best figures that Hasbro's released in a long time. So, like I said earlier, I definitely recommend this figure. Anyway guys, that is my review. If you have enjoyed this video, please drop me a like down below. Please add any comments you'd like to ask about this figure or anything about my channel. Please subscribe, and you know the routine guys, keep collecting, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye bye.